Welcome to another episode of Eat This, Drink That. We got Steve Greer, our beverage specialist. We got our cook, our chef, our master chef Ali here, and I am Ryan, and we are going to get on with Ali. What is your Eat This for today?
Guys, we are making, hopefully you can see this, as well as a cast iron, Instant Pot Carnitas. I love Carnitas. I use the Instant Pot all the time. There are a lot of ways to make Carnitas. I feel like the internet loves Instant Pot Carnitas because it's such a handy vessel. And I wanted to do this version first because I make Carnitas a few different ways because there's a lot of wrong recipes. Okay. So I'm just going to jump right into this. We're going to get into the work. First things first, I've got a cast iron that's nice and hot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to brown some pork shoulder. And what I'm going to do is I've got this cast iron preheated. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little taste of authenticity. I'm going to add some lard, right? Some lard into the pan. Now, if you know anything about carnitas, you know the traditional way they make it in Mexico is to slowly fry it in lard. So you're not cooking it at a high temperature, cooked slowly, submerged in oil, much like the French concept of confit, like duck confit, meat slowly cooked in fat. I think what's really rad is it's like the meat is rendering in itself. So I'm mimicking that process two ways. One, you're not going to have to deal with a giant vat of fat when you're done cooking. That's my problem with deep frying. It's like, what do you do with this stuff afterwards? But we are going to get the flavors there. So what I like about using lard, by the way, I just got this at the supermarket. It has a shelf life of, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. This obviously has preservatives in it because it'll last you, this lard lasts a long time, straight up. And what's great is it's got a high smoking point. Why? Because this pan is really freaking hot. I've had it heated up for about 15, 20 minutes, and there's no smoke happening, and I have very sensitive smoke detectors. So that pan has got some lard up in there. You know, I mean, look, it's carnitas, guys. It's not a salad. You know what I mean? You just got to understand how a little goes a long way. Now, I also have some pork shoulder, some nice chunks of pork shoulder. What I've done, I'll just do a little bit more, a little salt bay. I just threw a little kosher salt on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to brown this meat, okay? So I'm just putting this in the pan. And it's going to give it some nice color. And it's just going to give it a little extra layer of flavor. Carnitas, ultimately, like, it is shredded up. But it's nice to have that brown bit. Like I've said before, and others have said it as well, brown food tastes better. Brown food tastes better. It's why the corner piece of lasagna is awesome. It's why great pie crust makes the pie. You know, you want to have that delicious brownness. So this is good and hot. One little tip I've learned, just going to throw it right away. One little tip I've learned about using a cast iron, love this pan. Cast iron is a great pan because once it gets hot, it stays hot. However, whenever you're adding food, cold food, to a hot surface, you're inevitably going to cool that pan down. Okay? So I've got this on low. I'm going to let this go for about a minute or two to get some color in there. And then, as I flip it, I'm going to turn the heat back up. Why? Because this meat is cold, and it will reduce the temperature in this pan. I've got a little temp gun, and when I was testing this out, I was hitting 450 degrees before I put the pork in. When the pork went in, the pan dropped to just under 300. It's pretty significant. Now, cast iron is tricky. It's like a ship in the ocean. It turns slow, you know? So what's cool is, if this was stainless steel, it would reduce way more, but it also would come back up a lot faster. This one doesn't reduce quite as much, but in order to get it back up, it's a slow shift. You gotta turn it. So,
and you're only using the pan to sear, or are you doing more things?
Stay right there. We'll be right back and answer that question. We've got more coming. You know, what's really nice about this technique, there's lots of recipes out there where you just dump it in a slow cooker, dump it in the Instant Pot. First of all, you're going to get a great color. I'm sure one of these guys, almost there. Give it another. Oh, this is a nice one. See that color?
Yeah.
You want that. The brown is flavor.
Cool.
And it's amazing. I can hear it, and I can tell how it's just cooled down. And the other thing that happens, too, is the liquid gets released, and that slows it down, too. Another important tip, you can probably see here, I do this in batches. This is about 1.5 pounds. Usually I make like 2, 3 pounds, sometimes 4. I do it in batches because if you crowd the pan, it doesn't brown. It steams. And steaming is not, there's no point. There's no point. So you want to take your time if you're looking for that color and you want the flavor that comes from that color. So some of these did have some pretty good color. Just letting it go for a bit. This is one of those things where it's important to have that bit of patience. So I just want to go broad strokes about this and why we're doing it. Carnitas tacos. Why was I thinking about this? Previous episode, Greer made a daiquiri. I know, probably, Ryan, we were both like, daiquiri, it's a giant big blue thingy you have in a pool. And then he showed us the daiquiri. It was just rum, lime juice, simple syrup. I was looking at that, and I was like, dude, this looks like a margarita. I thought of Carnitas tacos. That's going to be where the inspiration for that came from. This is very fatty, and when I think about the tartness of that drink, I was like, heck yeah, man, a little liquor, a little lime. There you go. I'm going to flip these. There we go. That's
cool. Yeah, I love that you're browning it, Ollie. Because, like, you know, sometimes you get pork, and if it's all, like, soft and mushy and steamed, it's just not correct.
You know, it's like...
For me.
You get so much from this step if you take this step, you know? There are... You know, this is really important in when you're cooking a stew or a braise. Some of the more hardcore chefs in their cookbooks, they're like this. There's not just two sides to this, right? I'm just flipping it, right? There are these chefs that are like, I want to get
on the side,
all 6 sides of that. It's like can be maniacal. That's great. That's great. This will give you a fair amount. Now I did flip it, so I'm just going to turn that heat up a bit. Again, because
there's so many...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. There's so many extra ways to create depth of flavor, but going over the top and hitting all 6 sides, that's a little nuts.
That's a lot coming from him. And honestly, I think some of the epiphanies of this, as we explore certainly drink recipes and food recipes, and then going back to like that $100 bottle of wine, the $300 bottle of wine, the $50 bottle of wine, the $20 bottle of wine. At what point, and it's going to be different for everybody. Everyone's got their own bandwidth. But personally, I'm chasing after the taco truck. This is the path to getting a taco truck without having to have a giant vat of lard cooked for 3 hours, by the way. This thing is going to be done in about an hour.
Wow.
About an hour.
Did you make a daiquiri to drink while you're cooking?
So you will see later. I'm going to have a lot of carnitas, and we have, as soon as we're done, we have people coming over. We bought the plantation rum. We're going to make daiquiris and margaritas. So very excited. Very, very excited. All right. So this is starting to just get to where I want it to be with the color. I'm going to go ahead and build what goes into this Instant Pot. So this is the inner lid. If you're not familiar, Instant Pot is it's a pressure cooker, but it's got almost like a microwave interface. Very, very handy. You know what I mean? It's, frankly, I think it's idiot-proof and safer because pressure cookers can be dangerous. First thing we're going to do...
Is this the same as a crock pot?
But fast. But fast. Crock pot's slow. You know what I mean? It's fast. So first thing we're doing, I've got half a white onion. I'm just layering that in the bottom, Now, I am going to add the pork into this pot. should be able to see that.
So you don't want the onion to have any color or cook. You want the raw flavors to come
Here's the thing.
piercing
We're not
through.
eating the onion. We're not eating it. It's to flavor the cooking environment, and it's going to provide some moisture. Because you can't cook this dry. This thing needs liquid, or it'll freaking, I don't know, it'll go nuclear. I've never gone that route. You know what I mean? I try to stick to the instructions. So, look, that's the extra step, gentlemen. So we're going. We're putting all these in here.
This is kind of like the shrimp stock in the
By the way,
episode last week.
I made a jambalaya the other day. Added the shrimp stock. Game changer. Shrimp stock it's a game changer. It's a straight up game changer. And I'll be real with you guys. Some of these get more color than others. It's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
All right. So we got all our pork in there. Okay.
And did you say you're using pork butt or pork shoulder? Is
there's
there
not.
really a difference?
Pork shoulder is the actual, I dare I say I'd call it the subprimal cut of the animal. So it's essentially all shoulder. When you break a shoulder down, one of the cuts is pork butt, Boston butt. It's just a name that they give. And usually it's trimmed up to a manageable shape. This, just so you know, I went to the Carniceria. They had some pork all cut up. I just went and got that. They already did the work for me. The only thing I'll say is some of these pieces are kind of uneven, bigger chunks, but it saved me some time, and I've got a way to deal with that. So pork's in there, garlic cloves. These are about, so this is a fatty, so I would call this, for me, I eyeball it, it's about 4 garlic cloves. That's going to go in there. We are going to add some bay leaf. That's going in.
Nice.
I'm just going to get this here right now. Orange. This is. I'm going to have a whole orange. Just cut it in half so I can squeeze it. I'm getting the juice for the flavor, for the sugars that are going in there. Not worried about the seeds because I'm just going to be picking out the pork chunks later after they cook. So I'm just squeezing that in there. And then just so you know, we're putting the rind in there too. It all goes in. It all goes in. Now I'll tell you straight up, I did not grow up with Michoacan. I have never made carnitas the authentic way. I've definitely eaten a lot of carnitas. As I explored the internet looking for recipes, what struck me was, because of the nature of search engine optimization and savvy food bloggers who know how to work it, a lot of the recipes you'll find on that first 10 hit list, right, are, I like to call them the mommy bloggers. They're making everything from baked items to anything to sheet pan chicken. And obviously there's a market, there's a reason for that. However, when they make carnitas, they're adding stuff like chili powder, cumin, flavors that we associate with Mexican food, but flavors that go into the process of making carnitas. Carnitas straight up is just pork confit. It's rendered in pork fat. And I've got cookbooks that validate that. So what I love about this is, in Michoacan, they'll use stuff like orange. They'll use milk. There's even some recipes where they use Coca-Cola because of the sugar factor and the browning factor. But this is it, guys. This is it. There was a little bit of kosher salt that went in here that I seasoned the meat with. This is some chicken stock. It's about a half a cup. I'm pouring that in here.
Now the fat that it's rendering in, the confit, that's just the lard that you started in the pan, right?
This is about a half teaspoon of kosher salt. Just going to add some of that in there. And now we are going to get this to cook. There literally is just...
That's it?
Go ahead.
That's it?
That's
it? That's
Where's
all
the
you do?
moisture coming from?
You know the coolest part about that? Because you rough cut the onion, you cut an orange in half, you threw whole garlic cloves in, the amount of prep, and you bought the meat already cut.
It's easy,
There's very little prep for this dish.
It's easy. So,
yeah.
Ali, is the moisture coming from the orange juice? Is that basically where the wetness is coming from?
The
chicken stock. Sorry,
Probably
the chicken
like
stock.
a quarter cup. Plus, I had a half cup of that chicken stock.
I forgot about the stock.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I will tell you, like anyone who's doing a cooking demo, there's some already done. So I'm going to show that to you right now.
Ooh,
so
wow.
This is a batch that I just did earlier. Okay.
Hey, can you tilt your camera down just a skosh when you're getting ready to show
100.
this?
A skosh. I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Hold on. Here it is.
Skosh.
Here it is. I got to go over here.
Hey.
Ah, there's the puppy. He's like, hey, man, I smell meat.
There he is.
I like meat.
Let me
There
tighten
you go.
it
That's
up here.
perfect, Ollie.
Okay. All
Very
right.
cool. Awesome.
This was that's warm because I had it in the oven warm. You guys see this?
Yeah, switch your cast iron in the pot
Here, I got
if you can,
another
because that'll be a perfect view.
Nice. With the...
Actually...
Here we go. Ooh,
yeah. That's tender.
Nice.
Now, gentlemen, we're just going for it. This could not be better.
Okay. Oh, and so you're going to brown it again on the cast iron?
Yes, sir. Yes, I am. And I'm going to add a skosh more lard.
A skosh of lard.
Just a skosh of lard. And what's kind of cool is, like, you know, look, as you guys know, I've been on a bit of a health kick, right? And a big part of that has just been knowing what's going into my body by understanding the labels of food and stuff like that. You know, fats, we use fats.
Mm-hmm.
We use fats. Salad dressing has fat in it, right? You know, a lot of people can be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're using lard. There's calories in canola oil. You know what I mean? There's calories in olive oil, right? I think to me, when you use lard, it's like, look, people have been using it for a long time. You want to consider amounts and stuff like that. But, look, I bought this stuff months ago. It keeps for a long time. I don't use it a lot.
I mean, you're not using a great amount of it either. You're just doing a spoonful at a time. I mean, you see people use sort of these big blocks of it, and
people can drink fat, and it can come in so many different ways. You know what I mean? Like, I could have someone who will be like, I had an old colleague of mine who'd be like, God, you eat all this red meat. Meanwhile, he's sitting in front of a giant block of blue cheese, and I'm like, my man, if we're talking about saturated fat. Right. The blue cheese and the steak. In fact, I would one-up you this. At least with the steak, you're getting protein. You know what I mean? The blue cheese is pure. It's delicious, but it's pure fat. So, you know, I think people can kind of go, I don't know about the lard thing. If you want to use a canola oil, you could as well. But, you know, like, it's what the dish is. It's what the dish is. You grab a Carnitas. You know what I mean? Tomorrow we'll make steamed salmon. So what I'm going to do, and I like to get it all, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start throwing this meat in here.
Love that sound.
And it's sizzling.
Love that sound.
Yeah.
So it looks like the meat really stayed together within the Instant Pot. It didn't start to separate.
And I will tell you, I got this stuff at the Carniceria, and it was all different cuts. Usually I cook this for about 35 minutes. I checked it after 35 minutes. And also, there's a thing called, when you use a pressure cooker, you have to allow the pressure to come out. You can either do that naturally, or you can turn the valve. Some of these recipes let you wait a certain amount of time instead of waiting the full time for it to naturally come out. So I waited 15. I checked it. Guess what? It wasn't done yet. So I actually added more time to it. I just kept going. Okay. And we got.
You missed one piece of meat, Ali.
So check this out.
All right.
What I'm doing now is I am by the way, this is coming apart rather easily.
Yes.
I'm sure you can see that.
That looks so good.
Now, the other thing you can do, I've done this in the past, and it works quite well, is you can put this in the broiler, and let it crisp up that way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. To me, what I like about this is you can kind of keep a low flame on it. You can add a little bit more lard and stuff like that. To me, it's 6 or half a dozen. I just love using my cast iron too as much as I can. Because, I mean, dudes, that's, yeah. Oh, man.
I gotta start eating
It's really, and you know what's funny? Right now
these
it's kind
Joes.
of crazy, right?
Okay.
What I'm going to do next to kind of really take it to that carnitas factor, we're going to do two things. One is, and I'm sure you guys have seen this at the taco truck, right? They've got the carnitas, they throw it on the flat top to kind of either, honestly, get it hot or just crisp it up. First thing I'm going to do, just going to hit it with a little bit of kosher salt. I usually don't measure with it. I let my fingers kind of do the talking. And then what I'm going to do, and you know, it is what it is. I'm going to add just a little bit more lard.
A little more lard, nice.
More lard?
And I'm using like kind of a long handled teaspoon, right? And I'm just going to let that crisp up. When you taste it, just from here, it's very brothy. It's very kind of stew, braisy-like, you know what I mean? So this, again, is going to... This is a way to get it cooked and get it done, but to really make it carnitas, you need the fry pack. When you do this step, I guarantee you will have a carnitas taco that, yeah, someone could do it with the paddle and the lard for hours and hours and hours, but this will get you pretty darn close. You know what I mean?
Okay. So that was going to be my question. I'm not a huge stickler on, you know, a recipe needing to remain 100% authentic. But just, it's always good to know how it's made in an authentic way. Is that the way? They put big pots of fat and they just stew the meat for 3-4 hours over an open flame?
Yeah, I mean,
That's it?
I've never, like, hands-on done it, but as you know, in general from cooking, like, if you're going to cook something for a couple hours at that temperature, I mean, you're talking about, like, the fat's got to be, like, around 300. 300 is going to be, I mean, 350 is straight frying. You're frying at 350, 375, whatever, right? But you know, it does cook for hours. It also, you know, you're talking about the art of breaking down the whole pig. I mean, when you're getting real carnitas, it ain't, I mean, shoulders kind of the way to go. You know what I mean? You're going to get a lot of yield from that. But, you know, if you think about it, at the good carnitas joints, for sure in LA, it's like, I want to get ribs, I want to get ear, I want to get cheese. I mean, come on, that's where it gets what's up, you know? So this is where I just like to, you know, it's very tempting because part of me is like, yeah, I'm just going to let it go. I could always add a little bit more lard if it's going a little bit more drier. If you were just concerned about adding too much lard, you could always add some of this broth. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Because the broth is super tasty as well.
And what you're really going for here is just more crisp ends, right?
Crisp.
You're just going for more crisp meat.
So this part, though, and I'm going to give it a minute and then I'll flip it, is where it becomes carnitas, okay? What we did at first was good elements for a flavorful wet cook, for a flavorful braise, essentially. And it happens quick because of this Instant Pot. You know what I mean? Like, this is set for 45, just because of the bigger chunks. That's how long it took to get me very tender. But literally about an hour later, you'll have, that meat was like, it didn't take much. You know, 2 forks and I was shredding it apart.
Right.
I'm hearing it. It's starting to get
sizzling.
I got to be honest, I don't own a pressure cooker. I've never used one. I think I had a crock pot for a minute.
It's like an all-day thing with the crock pots.
You have to basically, it's a big plan ahead. See, that's what's cool about this. This kind of speaks to the fact that we're like, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, I want it. We're in Uber Eats world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, slow cooker is not an Uber Eats kind of thing.
Right.
If Uber Eats was like, here's the 48-hour plan, I'll see you in 2 days. You know? Oh, I'm starting to hear that sizzle, boys. So I'm going to do this.
What's your preferred way for building a carnitas taco? How much of a stickler to
he's all about, like, he's a page turner. He doesn't put the book down. He wants to know what's happening next. All right, so I want to show you guys really quick because this is starting to get, it's definitely getting that color.
Sweet.
Where is? All right. So.
Oh, here we go.
You can see that. You can see some of that color.
Nice.
Oh,
kind
that's
of
looking
pop
legit.
up, you know.
That is looking legit.
Now, what's rad is, I just got me. Now at this point, what's so rad about this at a party is like, you got this. It's ready to go. You know what I mean? Someone wants a taco, you're like, right on, dude. I got a batch right here. And in fact, just because we've been talking about it, I'm gonna go ahead and just grab, because it is a nice flavorful broth. Oh, actually, we had an extra.
I was trying to tell you a couple times that you missed a piece of meat.
Oh, dude, yeah, we're getting it all in there. Ooh, I have this great little kitchen device that it's almost like the stuff in hotels or in airplanes that keeps food warm. And that what's great about this is you can make this and basically keep it warm. Keep it warm, keep it wet, add fat as needed to crisp up, It just, oh yeah. It's going to be a good afternoon. Oh.
Nice.
And it's so great because you get the savoriness, the chicken broth, plus the orange juice. Boom.
Killer.
All right. So that's in there. That's getting really good. Let's talk about exactly what Steve brought up, which is Carnitas taco. We're going to build one right now. Now,
Sweet.
I will tell you this, gentlemen. There are a lot of things I do. By the way, corn tortilla. I'm going to make a fatty. I have street tacos too, which I kind of prefer for something this rich. You know what I mean? The little one-biters. But What I love about this is, frankly, when you're making content, a large tortilla is better. It just looks like it spills over. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. I am toasting my tortilla right over the flame. I just love to get that initial char color in there, but then I'm going to toss it in here in a sec as well. All right. And as a friend of mine who has a show on El Rey, United Tacos of America, said, I have Mexican hands because I can just pick them up off the point.
Yeah.
Off the stove. Now, give me 1 sec here, because we're going to talk about how we build this. Now, I like Steve, I'm going to use the Steve line here. We could go down a rabbit hole about all the different ways we can dress up a Carnitas taco. We're not going to do that. I'm just going to show you one way of doing it. So, one of the things I've learned, and I'm hearing this, and I'm going to, oh snap. Yeah, guys, this is a good batch.
I love the sound.
Oh my God. This is, we're doing good over here. For me, fundamentals with the Carnitas taco. Absolute fundamental is I like a layer of guacamole.
Okay. Smeared
on. So corn tortilla, a little bit of guac. My kid loves guac as well. He doesn't do a lot of salsa. My guacamole, this is so simple, and there's a zillion ways to do it. But mine, avocado, chopped white onion, salt, lime juice. That's it. Okay. No tomato, no jalapeno, no this or that, no cumin. You know what I mean? Like, it's just what this is. Very simple, very plain. Now, we're going to get, what's great is you kind of pick and choose what you want here.
There we go.
So obviously I got it very tender, steaming, as it should be. Now let's talk salsa. I made this guac, but I also wanted to show off one of my things, which is I love to go to a carniceria and pick up salsas. My MO for making tacos, certainly carnitas, I'm chasing the taco truck.
Yeah.
I love to make my own salsas. But you know what, guys? When you're making 3 or 4 salsas, that's a mission. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's like, I made something. Maybe you roasted the elements. You're washing a blender 3-4 times. What I love about going to the carniceria is, wow, I can just buy 3 salsas at once, save a bunch of time, and they're This is not jarred stuff. Now let's talk about the right salsa. Avocado tomatillo salsa from the Carniceria. This is going to have great spice and kick. And one of the taco trucks I used to go to, I literally asked her, what do you think is the best salsa for each filling? And she was like, this one for carnitas. Once I did this, I never looked back. I have other things I definitely can hit you with. And actually, one other quick thing. These guys sent this to me. I get stuff. This is almost like a Valentina. It's a salsa, but it's almost like a red hot sauce. I love having a second hit of color on my taco. So that's what I'm doing right there, just for fun.
Yes.
But fundamentally, the avocado on avocado action, okay? The guac, the avocado tomatillo salsa from the Carniceria. It's got a lot of heat. It works so freaking well.
Little dab of red
and then
sauce.
what's rad too is,
I like this.
You just get that squeezer right there,
That
and then
looks
Yeah. The tortilla is just the vehicle for getting all that meat.
So good, my God.
And what's great too is
I want tacos.
there's a lot of heat coming from these salsas, so you have all the spice you need.
Yeah.
That's where people go wrong with carnitas. They think that they have to make the meat spicy or spice or aromatic. Carne asada fundamentally is just skirt steak cooked over coals. Let the salsa, and you know what? I'm as guilty of it as anybody. I used to make it crazy. I have a delicious carne asada marinade. I'd make it, and then I would dress it up in a taco. You know what I'd figure out? I'm wasted my marinade because I've covered up that marinade with all the toppings.
All these salsas. Right.
So this is just a fundamental way to do it. I think this is a super solid way to do carnitas. Again, there's some other ways that we're going to share later, but bottom line is everyone loves an Instant Pot. Carnitas are pretty fun, economical. This stuff was like under $4 a pound at the Carniceria.
Wow.
Not the world's greatest pork, you know what I mean? But for a party, bring it on. Bring it on.
I can already taste the daiquiri or the margarita with this. And
it's these toppings as much as anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm always fascinated how different dishes or the dishes themselves are created in different regions of the world at the same time, using different methods. Carnitas always reminds me of North Carolina pulled pork barbecue. The difference is there. It's cooked in vinegar, not fat, right? So it's less of a confit and more of a just.
Well, that's almost the finish. If you think about it, there's a lot of similarities because you have this same kind of cut of meat that is tough and chewy if you cook it right away. But if you slowly cook it, the collagen breaks down. It turns into basically liquid fat. And it's very, very moist. That vinegar comes in when you essentially really want to taste the meat, right? So once you're pulling it, then you're adding that sauce. I mean, I'll tell you straight, like right now, as is, I'm staring at like this. Oh, hang on. The hand's still here. I mean, I could literally take this with these elements, hit it with some yellow mustard, barbecue sauce.
Oh, wow.
That would work too. In fact, when I made pulled pork, I still want to put it in a taco. Because I think the contrast flavors are better. But
that's the other big difference. For North Carolina pulled pork, you're putting it on a bun with slaw and blah, blah, blah. They're really close. They're so similar. It's crazy, especially since you didn't add all the spices and seasoning to the meat. I love that there's no cumin.
This is literally what I wanted to show is like, it's not necessary. That's what this is for. And I mean, we'll do some other stuff. There's some actually other elements that I like to make myself for carnitas, but I kind of wanted to show off that at its bare bones, just going to the carniceria and buying a salsa that's got some oomph to it. Because they have them. I mean, there's Mexican supermarkets in every major city in America. Go to them because they are. I mean, because the thing is, what's cool is I can go to this spot. Yeah, it's cheaper to make a salsa at home, but if you're making 4, that's coming to the party. Correct.
It's a whole day.
Someone else is coming.
Right. That's another fun point. Brings up another idea when I think of tacos. When they put too much stuff on the taco,
I just
that's
found
no longer a
the
street taco.
orange.
The secret meat. Oh, that was a secret piece of meat in the orange.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So
I like the simplicity of street tacos. That was just a tortilla, meat with some 1 topping, 2 toppings. That's it.
Now tell me this isn't going to go gangbusters with that daiquiri, because it's basically a margarita. Like straight up. Right. And by the way, because I feel like this is part of my MO, part of my POV, we got a bottle of that rum. It's like $25.
Yes. I know.
I mean, Plantation 3 rum. Baby. We used that in some of Steve's tiki episodes, I believe, or just some previous episodes, period, whenever it's rum based. Yeah.
Tiki and tropical. We use that same rum and the Smith & Cross, almost. You don't really have to have 5 different bottles behind your bar. You can have 2, and you can make a ton of different rum drinks with those 2 rums, not 5. I can't wait to hear. Make some margaritas side by side too, because the spirit profile will change, and I want to see what your guests.
I mean, what's crazy to me is to take a food that I've made a lot, and B, I think it's pretty familiar. I think a lot of people know what a Carnitas taco experience is like. But what a cool opportunity to try a twist on a drink. You know what I mean? Because I'll tell you, I've never had good white rum in my life. I've only had bad.
Bacardi.
I mean, I think I've had some decent dark rums. You know what I mean? Yeah. Never had any good light, clear rum, whatever. So it's
make sure you have a little sip of that plantation rum while you're making the cocktails. We say it every time, just like you're cooking. Yep. Taste the ingredients before you use them. Try that plantation rum. You'll get a completely different understanding and opinion of quality rum.
You might be the last person on earth who didn't buy a Instant Pot during quarantine, because I feel like they went like gangbusters.
An air fryer, of course.
For the ease, and I got more ways to share. But I think this to me is an opportunity to correct the internet on how to do carnitas in an Instant Pot.
Yeah.
Basically, skip all the seasonings you think make Mexican food. It's not a dry rub cuisine to make carnitas.
The secret really is the fruit juice. I mean, I'd say that's one of the secret ingredients, is that, there's always pineapples involved with al pastor, orange with the carnitas. That's like kind of the secret sauce with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was great.
Anything else, Ali, to
Thanks,
add?
Ali. I'm psyched.
Feeling pretty good about this presentation?
I got a second batch that I'm going to unload. I'm going to throw this in a warmer with a little bit more lard. And actually, I'll tell you this. I never realized this before because I've never made it in advance. Usually we're just going and eating it. I saved the cooking broth because it's a good way to keep it juicy.
Very cool.
What time is everybody coming over?
Okay.
I'm a professional.
Yes.
Let's get on with it. Ali just made us some amazing carnitas in about 30 minutes.
Wouldn't do that. I mean, I had the speed up.
You had pre-made. But
I had a pre-made, but it takes, it's an hour and a half door to door, honestly.
Okay.
Hour and a half.
You got to pull a Martha while you're doing a cooking show. I mean, you can't just.
I did pull a Martha. I did. I just need Snoop with me, right? And then,
that's right.
Yeah.
D-double-O-G.
Well, I think I have her haircuts, kind of. So,
dude, it is. Oh, you just gave it away. The length. You're right.
My inspiration.
It's more
okay. Well, thank you, Ali, for your eat this for the day, Carnitas. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching Eat This, Drink That. Subscribe to our YouTube. We're on streaming. We're on Twitter, TikTok, everything. So thank you guys for another great episode, and we will see you soon.
All right.
Thanks, guys.